8 most nutritious foods you should eat every day. And why most people ignore them. There is a huge paradox in the world of nutrition today. Never before have we had access to so much information about nutrition. There are thousands of books, millions of videos, hundreds of diets with sophisticated names. And yet, chronic diseases related to diet keep increasing year after year. Why? Because most of that information is focused on what you should avoid, what you should not eat, what is bad for you. And in that process, we lose sight of something far more powerful. Which foods actually have the ability to transform your health from the inside if you eat them consistently. I am not talking about exotic superfoods that cost a fortune. I am talking about 8 specific foods, backed by decades of scientific research, with such high nutrient density that if you incorporate them into your daily diet, you are going to notice the difference in your energy, your digestion, your immune system, and your mental clarity. Some of these are going to surprise you. One in particular is going to completely change what you thought about that food. Stick around until the end because I am also going to tell you how much to eat of each one and the best time of day to consume them. Let us begin. Food number 8, sardines. We start with the food most people underestimate, and probably the most nutritious per weight and per cost on this entire list. Sardines. I know what you are thinking. And I understand the resistance. But hear me out, because the numbers are hard to ignore. In a single small can of sardines you have enough omega-3 to cover several days' worth of your needs. These fatty acids, specifically DHA and EPA, have the greatest impact on chronic inflammation, brain health, and cardiovascular protection. There is practically no other accessible food that concentrates them in that amount. But omega-3 is just the beginning. Sardines are also an extraordinary source of vitamin D, which 80% of the population has at insufficient levels. Of vitamin B12, essential for the nervous system and for red blood cell production. Of calcium, because you eat them with the bones. And of selenium, which protects the thyroid and strengthens the immune system. And unlike tuna, which accumulates mercury because it is a large fish that eats other fish, sardines sit at the bottom of the food chain. They feed on plankton. Their mercury content is practically irrelevant. How should you eat them? Look for sardines in olive oil, not seed oil. 3 or 4 times a week is enough to get all their benefits. If you do not like the taste on their own, try them on rye toast with avocado and a few drops of lemon. The flavor changes completely. Food number 7, beef liver. This is the food that divides people the most. Half of them love it. The other half has either never tried it, or tried it poorly prepared and wrote it off forever. If you are in that second group, what I am about to tell you might change your perspective. Beef liver is, gram for gram, the most nutritionally dense food that exists in nature. That is not an opinion or an exaggeration. It is what shows up when you compare nutrient composition tables across the board. A 100-gram portion of beef liver contains more vitamin B12 than any other food on the planet. More than 600% of the daily recommended dose in a single serving. It also contains highly bioavailable iron, the type the body absorbs far more efficiently than plant-based iron. Preformed vitamin A, which the body can use directly without needing conversion. Zinc, copper, folate, and a concentration of complete protein with all the essential amino acids. The key is quality. Consume beef liver from grass-fed animals, not industrially farmed ones. The liver concentrates both the good and the bad from whatever the animal was fed. How much should you eat? 1 or 2 servings per week of 100 to 150 grams is more than enough. You do not need more. Liver is so nutritionally concentrated that excess can actually be counterproductive, especially with vitamin A. If you really cannot handle the taste, try marinating it in lemon juice for 2 hours before cooking it. That significantly reduces the strong flavor that many people reject. Food number 6. Whole eggs. For decades we were told the egg yolk was the problem. That you should throw it out or avoid it because of cholesterol. That if you wanted to be healthy, you only ate the whites. That recommendation was one of the biggest nutritional mistakes of the 20th century. The egg yolk is where 90% of the egg's nutrients actually are. Egg whites have protein, yes. But the yolk has choline, lutein, zeaxanthin, vitamins A, D, E, and K2, omega-3 fatty acids, iron, zinc, and dozens of bioactive compounds that work together in ways we are still discovering. Choline deserves special attention. It is a nutrient most of the population consumes in insufficient amounts, and it is absolutely critical for cognitive function, memory, and liver health. One whole egg provides almost 30% of your daily choline needs. And there is no easy way to get it in those amounts from other sources. As for cholesterol, the science of the last 20 years has been very clear. Dietary cholesterol from eggs does not directly translate into elevated blood cholesterol for most people. The body regulates its own internal cholesterol production based on what it consumes. 2 to 4 whole eggs a day is a completely safe and extraordinarily nutritious range for most healthy people. The best time is breakfast, because the protein and fat in the yolk produce lasting satiety that reduces cravings for the rest of the day. Food number 5. Avocado. Avocado is one of the few foods almost everyone already knows is good for them, but most people underestimate why. It is not just that it has good fats. It is the specific combination of what it contains and how those components work together. The monounsaturated fats in avocado, mainly oleic acid, are the same type of fat found in olive oil. They are the ones most consistently associated with reducing systemic inflammation and improving blood lipid profiles. But unlike olive oil, avocado comes packaged with fiber, potassium, magnesium, and a family of compounds called phytosterols that directly compete with cholesterol absorption in the intestine. Avocado also has something few people know. It is a significant source of glutathione, the body's master antioxidant. Glutathione does not absorb well when taken as a supplement, but when it comes in the whole food matrix, the body uses it much more efficiently. And there is an additional benefit that makes it especially valuable in combination with other foods. The fats in avocado dramatically increase the absorption of carotenoids from the vegetables you eat alongside it. If you eat a salad with no fat, you absorb very little lutein, beta-carotene, and lycopene. Add avocado, and that absorption can multiply by 5 or even 10 times. Half an avocado a day is an ideal amount. You do not need to worry about the calories because the combination of fat and fiber produces real, lasting satiety. Food number 4. Blueberries. If you had to choose a single fruit to eat regularly based purely on scientific evidence, blueberries would win by a wide margin. The concentration of anthocyanins in blueberries is extraordinary. These are the same molecules that give them their deep blue-purple color, and they have an antioxidant capacity that surpasses almost any other food measured on the ORAC scale. But what makes blueberries truly special is their documented effect on the brain. Studies conducted with older adults found that regular blueberry consumption improved working memory and cognitive processing speed in a way comparable to some pharmaceutical interventions. The mechanism works 2 ways. They reduce neurological inflammation and improve blood flow to the brain, especially to the regions associated with memory and learning. For the cardiovascular system, anthocyanins reduce the oxidation of LDL cholesterol, which is the process that turns cholesterol into something genuinely dangerous for the arteries. They also improve endothelial function, meaning the ability of blood vessels to dilate properly when the body needs them to. 1 cup a day is the amount that shows up most consistently in studies as sufficient for measurable benefits. Frozen blueberries are just as effective as fresh ones and generally much cheaper. In fact, they sometimes have a higher anthocyanin concentration because they are frozen at peak ripeness. Food number 3. Lentils. Lentils are probably the most underrated food on this list in terms of what they deliver relative to their cost. They are one of the richest sources of soluble fiber that exist. And soluble fiber is the preferred fuel for the beneficial bacteria in your gut microbiome. When those bacteria ferment the fiber from lentils, they produce short-chain fatty acids, especially butyrate, which is the compound that directly nourishes colon cells and keeps them healthy. A well-fed gut microbiome is not just about digestion. It is directly connected to your immune system, to the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin, and to the regulation of systemic inflammation throughout your entire body. Lentils also have relatively high-quality plant protein with an amino acid profile that pairs very well with grains like rice. They contain iron, folic acid, which is especially important for women of reproductive age, zinc, magnesium, and their own polyphenols that act as antioxidants. And unlike other legumes, lentils do not need extended soaking and cook in 20 to 30 minutes. Half a cup to 1 cup cooked, 3 or 4 times a week, is enough to get all their benefits. If you have sensitive digestion, start with small portions and gradually increase so your microbiome can adapt. Food number 2. Chia seeds. Chia seeds have something no other plant-based food has in that concentration. A combination of omega-3, soluble fiber, calcium, and complete protein in a single tablespoon. When chia seeds come into contact with liquid, they form a gel. That gel is not just texture. That gel is soluble fiber in action. The same process happens inside your digestive system, and the result is a slower, more gradual absorption of the sugars from everything you eat alongside them. Fewer glucose spikes. Less insulin. More stable energy for hours. The calcium content in chia seeds is surprising. A 2 tablespoon serving has more calcium than half a glass of milk. This makes them especially valuable for people who do not consume dairy or who are looking for alternative calcium sources. The omega-3 in chia is of the ala type, the plant-based form. The body partially converts it into DHA and EPA, although with less efficiency than marine-based omega-3. That is why chia seeds are an excellent complement to fatty fish, but not a complete replacement if you do not consume any animal products at all. 2 tablespoons a day is the ideal portion. The easiest way to incorporate them is to let them soak overnight in water, milk, or yogurt. By morning you have a ready pudding you can combine with fruit and with 2 or 3 of the other foods on this list. Food number 1. Dark leafy greens, and we arrive at number 1. And I know it might seem like a predictable answer. But the reason dark leafy greens top this list is so solid that no other food comes close. We are talking about spinach, kale, Swiss chard, watercress, arugula, and any intensely colored green leaf. And the reason they are number 1 is not because of a single nutrient, but because of the density and diversity of what they contain simultaneously. First, folate. Leafy greens are the richest source of natural folate. Folate is essential for DNA synthesis and repair, for red blood cell production, and for metabolizing homocysteine. Elevated homocysteine levels are one of the markers most consistently associated with cardiovascular and cognitive risk. Second, vitamin K1. The vitamin K1 in green vegetables is different from the K2 found in fermented foods. K1 regulates blood clotting and works together with vitamin D to direct calcium toward the bones and away from the arteries. Third, natural nitrates. Spinach and arugula are among the foods with the highest concentration of nitrates, which the body converts into nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is the molecule that dilates blood vessels, reduces blood pressure, and improves circulation throughout the entire body. Fourth, chlorophyll. This is the pigment that gives them their green color, and it has properties ranging from heavy metal detoxification to anti-cancer effects documented in laboratory studies. And all of this comes with practically 0 calories and prebiotic fiber that feeds the microbiome. How much should you eat? 2 cups of leafy greens a day is the minimum to start seeing benefits. The olive oil or avocado you add on top not only improves the flavor but multiplies the absorption of carotenoids. That combination is one of the most powerful nutritional synergies you can create in your kitchen. Let us recap the 8 most nutritious foods you should incorporate into your daily diet. Number 8. Sardines, the most complete accessible source of omega-3. Number 7. Beef liver, the most nutritionally dense food on the planet. Number 6. Whole eggs, especially the yolk most people throw away. Number 5. Avocado, which also multiplies the nutrients of everything you eat alongside it. Number 4. Blueberries, extraordinary protectors of the brain and arteries. Number 3. Lentils, fuel for a healthy gut microbiome. Number 2. Chia seeds, omega-3, fiber, and calcium in 2 tablespoons. And number 1. Dark leafy greens, the nutritional foundation no other food can replace. You do not have to add them all at once. Pick 2 or 3 from this list that you are not currently eating and start with those. Once they become a habit, add others. The body responds to changes accumulated over time, not to one perfect week of effort. As always, if you have a diagnosed medical condition or take medications, consult your doctor before making significant changes to your diet. If this video was helpful to you, share it with someone who cares about their health. And if you want to keep learning about evidence-based nutrition, subscribe and hit the bell. See you in the next video.